Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Welcome to lecture 11. In lecture 11 we will discuss or we start the discussion on the organization development. In last 2 weeks we have discussed many aspects of urban governance, the basic concepts, the legal and the constitutional provisions, some basic concepts in urban governance, and after that we have mentioned that in urban governance an organization acts as a driver. If a organization is poor, the urban governance fails. Even if there is a good leadership, there are good people, if organization as a whole does not perform. So, it is very important to identify, to see, understand how a organization performs, its various aspects, and what are the necessary interventions to improve organizational performance. So, today we will start the discussion on the organization development for urban local self-government. Under this we will discuss today that what are the determinants or factors of organizational performance with special reference to the urban local self-government, and then organization structure of the ULBs, what are the roles and responsibilities of the elected member and the functionaries, and how we do the SWOT analysis of an organization, and to go to a intervention for urban local self government. Now, you have seen that many organizations, there are organizations that they perform better, they deliver whatever they commits, and there are also organizations who cannot deliver, who cannot perform the services what they commit. So, there are examples of very efficient municipalities and the corporations who deliver timely service, transparent service, and there are also urban local bodies and rural local bodies who cannot deliver the service within the time period or within the expected level of expectation of the people. Now, what are the causes or what are the determinants or the factors which makes a organization performing or non performing? Let us see that. Now, so here the first, there are basically 3 basic factors in influencing the performance of an organization. The first factor is the external environment, the second factor is the organizational motivation, and third is something called organizational capacity. So, I would like to request all of you that you please take a note of this term, that is environment, motivation and capacity. Now, mostly these 2 aspects, the environment and motivation, is caused due to mostly external factors. Mostly, whereas the capacity is something which is mostly due to internal factors. Now, in order to understand the differences and the reason, we need to see it a little more details of the external environmental factor, motivational factor and the organizational factor. So, the external environment depends on various aspects. The first aspect is the administrative and legal. For example, urban local self government till 1992 there were no constitutional status as a local government. So, administrative and legal mandate or legal position of an organization is very important, which influences the performance of the organization. Second is the political. The political setup or political arrangement of any organization like the municipality or municipal corporation is important. There are municipal corporations or municipality where you have seen that after the election no one single party do not get the majority, and the formation of the board or formation of the councils becomes a very kind of not a non-decisive position, and because of that there are imbalance in the board and the council, and they cannot take the decision. All those kinds of problem influences, those are political problem influences the external environment. Apart from that, if there is too much political influences irrespective of any political parties in the day to day functioning of a local self government, that too also influences the function of a worker of day to day function. Next is the society and the culture. Every space has their own cultural context. A municipality which is situated in southern part of India and northern part of India or northeastern part of India, every space has their own cultural orientation. Some municipalities, they want to work more during the official hours. There are municipalities or the cultural areas where people tend to work more even beyond the official hours. So, there are variations in office hours, the style of working, the way they interact with the people, the way they want to provide the service. So, those are the cultural factors which is influencing the performance of the organization. Technological, like computerization and application of e-governance, which comes as a reform from the outside, that also can create some amount of changes. Economic, whenever there are macroeconomic changes like liberal policy of the government or the international liberal policy or the recession of the economic activities and the transaction, the influences also come to the organization, and the organization, they lack the investment from the outside, they lack the partnership, etc., and that also influences the job of organization. Next is the stakeholders. The stakeholders like common citizens, the group, community, the businessmen's association, the various community based organization, these are very important in urban local self government. If they are aware about the vision, mission and the work of a municipality and municipal corporation, they can participate and contribute, and if they do not contribute, if they are not aware, if they cannot contribute to the organization's work. So, it is organizations one task that they should take the people and inform them, otherwise this kind of factors influences their work very much. Then what are the motivational factors? Like history, whether the organization has a historical background. There are municipalities like Chennai, Kolkata, Mumbai Municipal Corporation, they are very old municipality and they have been working from the British period. There are many such municipalities and municipal corporation. Now, working on those kind of renowned municipal corporation and big municipal corporation sometimes give additional motivational factors or motivational boosting to the employees and the staffs. So, what are the motivational factor in terms of the history and legacy of your municipality? It is not only the time period or the duration or the inception or the origin which matters, it is also the track record of an organization of or an municipality which matters for giving motivational or demotivational input to a particular functionaries. Next is the mission. What is the mission of that organization? Do the mission have a relevance and the convergence with a particular person's mission? If not, then the particular person cannot work. For example, if a honest person who has the professional integrity works in an organization is full of the corruption and the undesired activities, so that person definitely will not get the adequate motivation in that organization. So, it is the organizational mission and the organizational conduct which matters and which influences a person's motivation to perform or not to perform. Then culture, when it comes to a person who works in the organization, what is their culture, what is their conduct, what is their style of working, that also factors here. The earlier the cultural and social profile is basically pertains to the culture and organizations of the client or the end user, but here the culture is for the municipal functionaries, the people who are working in the municipality. Then whether there is incentives and reward system in the municipality, so that if you work more, if you perform more, you get better, if you do not perform, you perish, something like that. And also apart from that, if a organization have robust promotional policy, career advancement policy and a system of incentives, definitely the functionaries and the people, they will get more motivation and the boosting for working. And then we have the organizational capacity. This is much more important when we work in a day to day basis in organization. For example, there are factors like strategic leadership, whether the organization has a strategic leader who can show the organization the path and the direction for the development. Here I would like to give an example just to explain the relation between a leader and the organization in urban governance. Please recall the incidents of the Mahabharata when Sri Krishna took the Ratha with the Arjuna. So the role of Sri Krishna here as a leader to show the direction, and the organization as the Arjuna and the Ratha as the organization, they perform as per the direction. So leader's role is to give the direction of the organization, where organization performs the day to day activities under the overall urban governance. So that is the strategic leadership which is required. Next is the human resources. Apart from the finance and the land and other resources, the human resources is very important in functioning of an organization. What kind of resources you have? Is that adequate? The manpower what you have, do they have the adequate skills and knowledge? Those kind of questions are coming here. Next is the financial management. Are your organization managed properly for the finance or not? So financial management is very important. Organizational process. What are the prevalent processes which are there to perform any particular function? For example, you in municipality, you want to get a sanction of a building plan. So you submit all the papers and drawings. So what are the processes which is going through in the municipality to get the sanction? So those processes matters for each and every function. If the process is efficient and smart, the service delivery will be also better. Then program management. If there is any program, for example, Amrut program, JNNURM program, Smart City program, how you are managing the program efficiently? Every programs and projects are time bound activities. So are you able to complete on time? That is the question. Then how you manage infrastructure and resources. So here you can understand, and also inter-institutional linkages, how you are using your strategic leadership to link with inter-institutional linkages. In some of the discussions we showed you that an organization like urban government, they need to interface with the people, community and the other organizations at the state level, at the national level and international level. So those kind of linkages need to be set up by the leadership and then the functionaries. Under this I would like to mention also few elements under the strategic leadership. So strategic leadership is all about the managing culture, setting direction and accomplishment of the task. So it is not the elected, it is also elected plus functionaries. For example, if you are a mayor or councillor or a executive officer or commissioner or a section in charge, everything the leadership pertains to every person in the organization who is leading a section or a organization or a board. Then strategic planning, scanning the environment, whether the environment is pro work, the developing tactics to attain mission, then structures, roles and responsibilities of the people, the conditioning, accountability and authority system. If in your organization you find that in the organization structure there are inadequate documentation of the roles and responsibility of each and every person, so please make that list of roles and responsibility and get it published and ensure that it works and people follow that. So, the structure is important for functioning of the strategic leadership. It is the task of the leadership in the organization to make sure that every people they are aware about their task, roles and responsibilities in their organization. Then the human resource, in human resource it is the human resource planning, training and professional upgradation, then career management, compensation of any better performance and equity, whether the human resources are distributed equitably, whether they are getting benefits equitably, those are the questions comes here. Then the resources and infrastructure, only human resource cannot perform or cannot deliver a service. There are resources and the infrastructure which is essential for delivering the performance. For example, here we are delivering a lecture. For delivering these video lectures, all the equipments like video cameras, air conditioning rooms to conduct the examination setup is required. Without that setup, even if we deliver the lecture, we cannot do that. Similarly, in a municipality, to perform each and everything, every function, you need to have a basic level of space, basic level of thermal comfort and human comfort and the equipments and the infrastructure. I have seen municipalities where people doesn't have even a decent seating arrangement. So, you cannot imagine people without a seating arrangement, without basic infrastructure, how they can work on those kind of organization. So, if you are a city manager leading the municipality, please ensure that resources and infrastructures are there. So, there are the points. So, basic infrastructure, technology which is influencing the infrastructure like computerization or the audiovisual equipments, finances is also part of influences infrastructure. Next is the how you manage your programs and finance. What are the inherent styles and the systems you have to manage your program or the finance? Do you follow the manual process? Do you follow a automatic or the online process, or do you follow a hybrid process where manual and the automatic process are integrated? So, therefore, with the time and changing time, you have to improvise, you have to change and you have to inculcate better and efficient management system for the finance and for the program. Then only you will be able to perform day to day basis, you will be able to deliver the projects and the program for the service delivery, and definitely you will get more credibility from the citizens. So, here are the points: planning, implementation, monitoring, evaluation. So, here you can see that planning comes before the start of the project, implementation is implementation come during the project. So, it is pre, this is during, this is also during, but role is different, and this is after. In India, we hardly do the evaluation of the project. In most of the cases, when the public money is spent, we just say that such and such figure, such and such crores of rupees are spent, and money spent is equated with the delivery or the impact of the, we hardly measure the impact of the project, and what is the actual impact, whether the project reach the objective or not, we hardly do. So, in every project, you definitely during the planning phase, you must keep some amount of funding for the evaluation. That is what is required in your organization. Then in the process management, similarly you need to do the planning of the various kind of processes. We will come to some of the elements of the process management in later in detailed discussion. Problem solving and decision making. If a process is wrong, if a process is defective, then there will be problems, people will get confused in getting some basic services. So, you have to solve the problem by inserting a new process, efficient process, a simpler process which has much clarity to your staff who are working in the municipalities and also to the citizens. And communication, how you communicate the process to the people, and monitoring and evaluation is also required for the process. Inter-institutional linkage is the task of a leader and the people who are leading the municipalities. So, how you build up the network with the organization, at various levels, how you make network with the companies like private for different PPP projects and all those, and how you make partnership with various stakeholders. So, here your approach should be in a partnership mode. Then external communication in terms of written communication, verbal communication, etc. So, in municipality the key leadership positions, they will be able to make written, verbal and electronic mode of communication very efficiently in today's context. Otherwise, the inter-institutional linkage will not be possible for municipality. Then how do we measure the organizational performance? So, there are few parameters based on that what we measure the performance: efficiency, effectiveness, relevance and sustainability. Now, let me just in brief let me discuss the difference between these points. Efficiency is how you are working, or this how in your work, whether you are efficient or not, whether within given time you could complete the task or not, whether intelligently you could perform the task or not. Effectiveness is that maybe you have performed the task, maybe you have done the task within the time with a better efficiency, but maybe that work did not reach to the target population, target beneficially. That is the effectiveness of a particular task or a job. So, efficiency may not lead to effectiveness, but effectiveness, if a project is effective or a function is effective, there has to be some amount of efficiency in performing that particular job. Relevance, maybe you are efficient, you are effective, but you are doing something which is irrelevant or less relevant, or maybe much relevant projects are delayed or not given adequate preference or priority. So, what is your prioritization in terms of the doing your job, or or motivating your people to do the job? So, prioritization and relevance is very important. Then sustainability, what you are doing today, whether that work will be sustainable tomorrow or not. So, if for any reason you are transferred to another department, another section or another organization, whether your team will be able to continue that work or not. So, those kind of sustainability, it is not the sustainability of the environment, it is the sustainability of the performance or the work which matters. In organizations, you must have seen that people make systems, make process, document it and instruct the subordinates or the staffs to follow it, and so that in such a way, so that in their absence also they can follow and they can perform the task. So, in municipalities or in any government organizations, you might have seen that for any particular task, if somebody is in leave and if you come for a particular job, then people say that such and such person is on leave. वो बोलता है कि बाबू छुट्टी पे है, but this should not happen in any organization. If somebody is in leave, if somebody is not come in the office, so in his absence the process should be there, the people should be continuing their work. So, those kind of sustainable practices is required in organizational performance as well. So, after this, let me show the administrative structure of some of the municipality. Here I am showing the Agartala Municipal Corporation's organization structure. Agartala is the capital city of Tripura, you know. So, here it is written as AMC head office, whether it is not detailed out, definitely the head office is controlled by the mayor in council or such council or the board members who controls the overall organization. Then you can see the departments like confidential department, administrative department, development, accounts and cash section, revenue section, health section, public works section. So, basically here the role of confidential sections is on various parameters. It is written, I am not reading each and everything. You can see the administration section, basically they look after the administration of the whole organization, whereas the development and public works, they are involved in the planning and the execution of the project. Health section, they are involved in the health delivery system. Similarly, it can be detailed out in much further details. It is a indicative representation of the organization structure. Then let us see the administrative structure of the Municipal Corporation of Delhi. Here you can see that it is written in terms of the person in charge, of the sections like say civil, electromechanical, development, IT. So, joint municipal commissioners, revenue secretary and all those, and under that they have the system of director general. So, there are several director generals who are working under those chief of or the persons in charge. So, this kind of organizational structures can be made for your organization if you have not done so far, and please make it details, and along with the organization structure you need to detail out the roles and responsibility of each and every functionaries and the elected representative as well. Now, the roles and responsibilities of elected representatives, it is basically mentioned is in the Municipal Act, acts, rules or regulations. So, I am not going to explain all those, since we had already few lectures on the Municipal Act and the legal provisions. So, I request you that with your own time you follow any of the Municipal Act and see what are the roles and responsibilities of elected representatives. So, what are the duties, how they are supposed to perform their duty, and not only that, please see the roles and responsibilities of the functionaries like municipal commissioner, the executive officer, the urban planners, engineers, everyone in your own time. So, see like commissioner, planners, engineers, finance officers or the assessment in charge, etc. So, mostly these are mentioned either in the Municipal Act or General Office Order, which is notified time to time by the government. So, please go through all those notification, so that you can distinguish the role and responsibility expected from a elected representative and from the functionaries, and within the functionaries what are the difference of the roles and responsibilities for different kind of functionaries, right. And now let us briefly discuss that how we can make a assessment of the organization, what are the strength of the organization, weakness of the organization, opportunities and threat of the organization, what are the salient elements. For example, so strengths are basically what are the positive forces are there in the organization, what positive internal support you have in terms of the manpower, in terms of the land, in terms of the better infrastructure, etc., which help you to bring some change in the transition. What we ourselves can do to ensure the transition is smooth, what are the process or the styles you have, so that you can have a smooth transition in a change scenario. What are the negative factors? Is there any negative factors in terms of the political influences? Is there any negative factor for the incapacity of the people? So, those are the negative factors you have to identify: customs, orientation, lack of manpower, etc. Which are the processes are detrimental to the transition? You might have seen that maybe the process is manual and it is taking it is dependent on a individual, it is not dependent on the process. So, those kind of thing you have to identify and improve. Who are the people that resist change? Who are the people who do not want to have the change. So, you have to work with them, you have to talk with them, you have to listen their problem, and slowly you have to motivate them for the towards the change. Then what are the opportunities in front of the organization which can facilitate the transition? What are the developments external to the system? What are the positive approach at the higher level? What are the positive changes at the citizens level? And what are the threats like external factors that negatively influences you, policies, persons, responses, resources, whether the policies are pro work, whether the persons who are influencing your work from the external environment, they are influencing in a positive direction or not, responses from the higher authorities like state government, central government, that also influences you, resources in terms of the external environment, the land, that also. So, that also influences you. So, let me show you the difference between the SWOT analysis. So, there are some internal factors and there are some external factors. So, if the internal factors are plus, which is positive, that is called strength, and if the internal factors are minus or that is not so positive, that is called weaknesses, which can be improved. An external factor which comes to you as a positive force, that is opportunities, it can be a better policy, better finance, better direction, or the threats which is which need to be identified, and you should be aware about the threats and you should be prepared to face and opportunities, you should embrace the opportunity so that you can take maximum advantage of the opportunities, and weakness, you should improve weakness, and strength, definitely you should sharpen the skills or the strength what you have. So, these are the role of your organizational internal and external forces, in short, strength, weakness, opportunities and threat, or SWOT analysis. Now, I just sum up the discussions so that the further lectures can be taken and you understand how we are proceeding with the lectures. So, we started with the discussions with the environmental factor, motivational factors and capacity factor. In the environmental factor, there are administrative, political, social, technological, economic and stakeholders. In the motivation factor, there are history, mission, culture, incentives, career advancement. In the capacity, there are strategic leadership, interinstitutional linkage, human resources, infrastructure, program or financial management and process. Now, for this, after this SWOT analysis, what kind of intervention can be there? Now, the interventions to improve the environmental and motivational factors of organizations, those are kind of I have written in the bottom, that is reform and the managing change. So, there could be some organizational overall change which are called as reform, and how to change bring those changes, that is called change management. And if you want to do, you have to resolve that conflicts, and you need to develop a transparency and accountability in the organization. So, this factors or these interventions basically improves environmental and motivational factors largely, whereas the interventions like adequate visioning, leadership and team building, capacity building and the training, reform also, and systems and process improvement improves the capacity of the organization largely. So, these are the set of interventions. If we, so these are set of intervention mostly satisfying the determinants like environment and motivation, and these are the interventions which is satisfying the capacity of the municipality. So, in the coming lectures we will discuss one by one all these elements like reform, managing change, leadership, team building, process development, capacity building till this week and next week also. So, with this I would like to conclude the today's discussion, and In today's discussion, we started the discussion on the organizational development. We told that organization is the driving force and the driver of urban governance for any particular situation. Organization, if it is a functional organization, if it is effective and the robust organization, it can perform, or if it is not so efficient, it cannot perform. In organizational performance, there are three categories of the influencer or the factors. One is motivational, one is environmental, and one is own capacity. Mostly the environmental and motivational factors are external, and those are not usually tangible, whereas the capacity of the organizations are tangible in terms of infrastructure, manpower, etc. There are strategies like strategies which for the intervention or for improvement of the organization will take after the SWOT analysis. SWOT is basically strength, weakness, opportunities and threat. Strength as weakness are the internal factors, opportunities and threat are the external factors, and then we have seen that to improve the motivation and the environmental factors, we bring reform and the managing change, we bring transparency and accountability, we bring those kind of intervention. On the other hand, if to improve the capacity, we bring training and capacity building, a robust and the strategic leadership, we bring systems and process improvement. So, one by one from the next lecture we will start the discussion on all these elements, so that you can understand that how all these elements can ultimately improve the organizational development, so that it can improve the overall governance and the direction of the municipality as a urban governance. So, next lecture we will start discussion on the transparency and accountability, how a transparent and accountable paradigm or transparent and accountable services or the conduct or the principles can improve an organization's acceptance, and what are the legal mandates. That is what we are going to discuss next lecture. So, thank you very much for attending.